Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Darshnovi here, back with another review of Clone Wars era novels. Last time I reviewed this series was a while ago. It feels like half a year. This is the third book in the Boba Fett series, Maze of Deception. Now, this switched authors, which I don't know why it took so long. I think two books in, they should have switched authors after the first book because okay, I'm gonna bring up the writing in the first two because I gotta explain to you why this has been a chore to read so far. Boba Fett is not a character I'm particularly interested in reading about, and it didn't help the fact that the first two books left a bad taste in my mouth, and that the writing was pretty bad. It felt like the author was talking down on me, and I don't appreciate that because they know that adults read these novels too, that at least have the least respect your reader's intelligence, because it felt like it was just reminding you constantly what happened, in various different parts of the book before. It's like, okay, I've read this like 40 pages ago. I get it, especially considering the fact that I can like burn through these in an hour and a half. And it's really irritating constantly having to have this information repeated. This new author doesn't do that. This feels like I'm reading a normal Star Wars novel that respects, the reader. Even though this is for young adults, it doesn't feel like I'm reading something that's for children. Now, what do I think of the story Maze of Deception? Well, this if you've read the second book, this takes place right where that leaves off, and Boba Fett is trying to reclaim his father's fortune because his father, Jango Fett, left him a fortune so he could have something to survive on. And Boba Fett, well, he does not want to share, his fortune with Aurra Sing. So the plot of this book is Boba Fett trying to get his fortune without, giving, Aurra Sing anything. And this, is a book where Boba Fett makes some critical mistakes, which is to be expected considering he's still a child at the time of this novel. Now, if you're a Boba Fett fan and you want to read about Boba Fett and his beginnings, I think you may appreciate this. Boba Fett learns from his experiences. He makes mistakes and learns from them. Now, the writing for this I think, is good too. The reason it took me so long to review this particular one because the character of Boba Fett doesn't particularly interest me. But if you're a Boba Fett fan, I think you should check this one out. In my opinion, I think you should skip the first two books because they're trash. I really do think they're trash, and I think this particular one, is good. I just don't think the first two books are worth your time. The author in the in those two books just doesn't respect the reader's intelligence, and this particular one, it feels like they took the criticism. I don't know if they took the criticism, but my criticism of the novels, first two, is the writing style, and it felt like they just. I don't know why they switched authors, but for this particular case, it was a good thing they switched because, in my opinion, had the series continued with the original author, it would have been horrible. So this is one occasion where changing the author in the middle of a series was a good thing. And if you were on the fence reading these books after reading the first two, I suggest you give it another shot with this one. Maze of Deception gets a good rating. I'm not the biggest fan of Boba Fett, but I got to admit, I think it's a good story if you're a fan of the character and you want everything related to it. Because, Boba Fett, his stories are very sparse in the expanded universe. And novels that are dedicated to him are even less. So, if you want to devour everything related to Boba Fett, just check this one out. And forget, the first two novels ever existed. Those suck. And next time we review the novels, I'm going to review something that's a little bit more obscure in the expanded universe. I have never seen anyone review these. The first book of the Secret Mission series. Later, everyone, and may the Force be with you always.